worse than sugar, the hidden food that undermines your heart health. You may be consuming an ingredient daily that appears harmless, yet it is insidiously damaging your heart. Indeed, while you focus on sugar, cholesterol, or fat, there exists another more prevalent adversary operating quietly within your body. It is present in the simplest dishes and most routine meals, and its consequences are catastrophic. This food can inflame your arteries, elevate your blood pressure, and accelerate the aging of your blood vessels. The most alarming aspect is that it often goes unnoticed. Most individuals are unaware of how much its presence on their plates is costing them in terms of years of life and vitality. Do you experience persistent fatigue or struggle to maintain your energy throughout the day? Have you ever considered that this might not solely be due to age or stress, but rather a reflection of a diet composed of seemingly innocuous choices? In this video, we will understand what is genuinely jeopardizing your heart health. Then stay tuned until the end, as the information you are about to receive is not being shared by anyone else. Number 15. Sweetened condensed milk and dairy desserts. Milk-based confections, such as condensed milk, may seem irresistible. They can be found in cakes, frozen desserts, fillings, and even in afternoon bread. However, this treat conceals a perilous combination for your heart: excessive refined sugar and saturated fats. This combination is highly inflammatory and fosters an internal environment conducive to fat accumulation in the arteries, complicating blood circulation. For instance, condensed milk is essentially a liquid calorie bomb. Each spoonful contains extremely high levels of sugar, which rapidly convert to glucose in the bloodstream. This continual glycemic spike instigates inflammatory processes and boosts triglyceride production, two elements that directly lead to artery blockage. Furthermore, it does not end there. The saturated fat found in these desserts accelerates the process even further. Industrial dairy desserts such as flans, mousses, and prepackaged puddings are not far behind. They contain an unhealthy combination of additives, colorings, and preservatives that, in addition to harming intestinal health, adversely impact the cardiovascular system. When these substances build up in the body, they heighten systemic inflammation, consequently increasing the risk of heart diseases. Regularly consuming these foods is also linked to weight gain, which in turn places additional strain on the heart and exacerbates insulin resistance. This is particularly concerning for individuals who already have a predisposition to hypertension or diabetes. In other words, a seemingly simple dessert can act as a catalyst for serious long-term heart issues. However, the most troubling aspect is that these desserts are socially accepted. They are present at parties, family gatherings, and even as everyday treats. Therefore, it is crucial to cultivate a more mindful relationship with these foods, seeking healthier homemade alternatives made with natural fruits, plant-based milk, or without added sugar. And be cautious. If you believe you have encountered everything, prepare yourself. The most detrimental food for your heart will be disclosed in the final chapter, and it is even more prevalent than condensed milk. Anticipate this revelation, as it will transform your perspective on your diet. Number 14. Canned and pickled foods high in sodium. Canned foods are convenient, quick, and economical. However, this convenience comes at a significant cost to your heart health. Products such as corn, peas, tuna, sausages, and even hearts of palm and brine contain an excessive amount of sodium. This surplus salt is utilized as a preservative. However, it is also one of the primary culprits contributing to elevated blood pressure and heart failure. Excessive sodium leads the body to retain fluids, which in turn increases blood volume within the vessels and elevates blood pressure. This compels the heart to exert more effort to circulate blood, thereby overloading the heart muscle. Over time, this strain can lead to heart hypertrophy, arterial stiffening, and even congestive heart failure. In addition to sodium, many of these foods contain various chemical preservatives that, when accumulated in the body, disrupt kidney function and cholesterol metabolism. The outcome is persistent internal inflammatory state that directly impacts the cardiovascular system. Furthermore, we must consider the effects these ingredients have on the kidneys, which work closely with the heart to maintain bodily equilibrium. Have you examined the label on a can of corn? In numerous instances, a single serving can surpass 25% of the recommended daily sodium intake. This indicates that throughout the day, it is quite simple to exceed the healthy limit, even without adding salt to meals at the table. This represents a hidden peril of ultra-processed foods and seemingly innocuous canned goods. A prudent approach is to select no-salt added versions or thoroughly rinse canned foods before consumption. Whenever feasible, opt for fresh or frozen foods that retain nutrients without requiring significant amounts of sodium. Minor adjustments like these can significantly enhance your cardiovascular health. Remain vigilant, for despite the risks associated with canned foods, there exists an even more detrimental food, a true saboteur of your heart. This villain will be unveiled in the final chapter of this video, which you will not want to overlook. Number 13. Industrialized hamburgers. They are popular, flavorful, and convenient to prepare. However, industrialized hamburgers present a dangerous combination for the heart: saturated fats, excessive sodium, and a lengthy list of chemical additives. These components render the food exceedingly harmful, particularly when consumed regularly and in conjunction with other equally detrimental items, such as processed cheeses and artificial sauces. The saturated fat found in processed hamburgers is one of the primary contributors to elevated LDL, cholesterol, often referred to as bad cholesterol. This particular type of fat encourages the accumulation of plaque in the arteries, a phenomenon known as atherosclerosis. Over time, these plaques obstruct blood flow, potentially leading to heart attacks and strokes. In addition to fat, excessive sodium is another alarming component. It not only increases blood pressure, but also fosters fluid retention and inflammation of blood vessels. This creates an ideal environment for the gradual deterioration of cardiovascular health. It's akin to pouring fuel on an already burning fire. Another contributing factor is the chemical additives utilized to preserve flavor, color, and texture in hamburgers. Ingredients such as monosodium, glutamate, phosphates, and stabilizers are not only superfluous but also disrupt metabolism, interfere with insulin, and heighten inflammation levels in the body. All of this further exacerbates risks to the heart. These hamburgers also possess a very high caloric density and low nutritional value, which leads to weight gain and increases the strain on the heart. The outcome is a cycle of poor diet and metabolic decline, something that can be prevented with more mindful food choices. Therefore, if you enjoy hamburgers, consider preparing them at home using natural ingredients and lean meats. This approach allows you to manage the salt, fats, and eliminate additives. A simple change like this can signify a significant step towards a healthier and longer life. Number 12. Microwave popcorn with artificial butter. Popcorn may appear to be an innocuous snack, but when discussing microwave popcorn with artificial butter, the situation changes entirely. This food is laden with highly processed ingredients that, together, form a detrimental combination for cardiovascular health. The major issue isn't the corn itself, but rather the chemical additives, excessive sodium, and particularly the presence of trans fats concealed in the flavorings. Trans fats are recognized for their ability to significantly elevate bad cholesterol, LDL, and decrease beneficial cholesterol, HDL. This creates a perilous imbalance that encourages plaque accumulation in arteries, promoting atherosclerosis. When these arteries begin to narrow, the heart must exert significantly more effort to circulate blood, which can result in heart attacks and heart failures. Another contributing factor is the sodium content found in these industrialized versions. Some packages can easily surpass the recommended daily limits for a single serving. Moreover, since popcorn is often consumed casually, individuals frequently eat the entire bag at once, unaware of the immediate adverse effects this has on blood pressure. The artificial flavorings used to mimic the taste of butter are also highly concerning. Research suggests that these compounds can induce systemic inflammation, directly impacting blood vessels and promoting oxidative stress. This ongoing assault on cardiovascular tissues accelerates aging and heightens the risk of early heart diseases. For popcorn enthusiasts, the optimal choice is to prepare at home using corn kernels and a small amount of olive oil or coconut oil, natural seasonings, such as paprika, turmeric, or dried herbs, also enhance flavor without compromising heart health. It is a straightforward substitution that can yield significant benefits over the years. Furthermore, even though industrial popcorn poses risks, it is not the most detrimental food for your heart. The true culprit will be unveiled in the final chapter. What follows is even more prevalent and hazardous than you might think. Number 11, white bread and soft rolls. White bread ranks among the most widely consumed foods globally, particularly at breakfast. However, few are aware of the subtle effects it has on cardiovascular health. Made from refined wheat flour, this type of bread loses nearly all fiber and nutrients during processing, transforming into a rapidly absorbing carbohydrate that is a primary contributor to blood sugar spikes. These frequent spikes promote the accumulation of abdominal fat, which is one of the most significant risk factors for heart disease. The visceral fat released by the body disrupts hormones that are responsible for regulating blood pressure, cholesterol levels, and insulin. Consequently, this leads to a deregulated metabolic state that burdens the heart with each meal. Soft rolls, though they may seem light and child-friendly, pose an even greater issue. Due to their soft texture and slight sweetness, they are often consumed in excess. This further elevates the glycemic index and results in imbalances in glucose and triglycerides. Over time, this dietary pattern contributes to the onset of metabolic syndrome, a condition that significantly increases cardiovascular risks. Additionally, these products contain chemical additives, stabilizers, and preservatives that, when consumed frequently, cause inflammation in the body. This chronic inflammation, even at low levels, is a primary contributor to contemporary heart issues. Alarmingly, this can occur even when individuals believe they are making a neutral food choice. A healthier alternative is to substitute white bread with authentic whole grain varieties that are rich in fiber and free from added sugar. Another excellent option is homemade bread made with varied grain, seeds, and less refined flours. This substitution aids in weight management, improves digestion, and safeguards heart health. However, if you thought white bread was among the worst options, be aware that there exists an even more detrimental food. This will be disclosed in the final chapter, and you may be unknowingly consuming this formidable adversary daily. Number 10, boxed juices. Colorful, convenient, and ostensibly healthy, boxed juices can easily mislead with their appealing appearance and label claims, such as being rich in vitamin C or containing fruit pulp. Yet, behind these enticing packages lies one of the most significant sabotagers of modern cardiovascular health. The reality is that these juices are laden with sugar, dyes, preservatives, and provide almost none of the benefits associated with fresh fruit. The significant issue resides in the excessive quantity of sugar present in these beverages. Even those that are labeled as 100% fruit can possess very high concentrations of fructose, lacking the natural fibers that would aid in regulating its absorption. This leads to sharp glycemic spikes that trigger fat production in the liver and elevate triglyceride levels, which is one of the primary indicators of cardiovascular risk. In addition to sugar, the presence of chemical additives is concerning. Artificial dyes, emulsifiers, and stabilizers have a direct impact on metabolism, inflame tissues, and encourage insulin resistance. This disrupted metabolic environment heightens the chances of hypertension and heart diseases, even among young individuals who appear to be healthy. Another crucial factor is the regular consumption of these juices by children and the elderly. They are frequently presented as substitutes for fruit, fostering a dietary pattern that promotes obesity and metabolic decline throughout life. The misleading perception of healthy living associated with boxed juice perpetuates this detrimental cycle. The solution is straightforward. Substitute boxed juices with water, natural unsweetened teas, or fresh juices made at home using whole fruits and vegetables. Nonetheless, it is vital to remember that the best option is to consume the entire fruit, retaining its fibers and nutrients, thereby ensuring a slower and more balanced absorption. Stay with me, as there are still extremely hazardous foods to discuss, and the most harmful one for heart health will be unveiled shortly. Do not overlook the final chapter, as it contains the most crucial revelation in this video. Number 9. Instant noodles. Few foods exemplify the convenience of contemporary life like instant noodles. Quick, inexpensive, and easy repair, they are a staple in numerous households. However, what many individuals are unaware of is that this seemingly innocuous food poses a significant threat to cardiovascular health. The combination of excessive sodium, low-quality fats, and chemical additives transforms this dish into a considerable risk factor. A single package of instant noodles can contain up to 90% of the recommended daily sodium intake. Additionally, this does not account for the extra salt that many individuals add after cooking. This excess sodium leads to fluid retention, elevates blood pressure, and places strain on both the kidneys and heart. Over time, regular consumption promotes the onset of hypertension, which is one of the primary causes of heart attacks and strokes. The fat found in these noodles is also a significant concern. Many varieties are fried prior to packaging, resulting in high levels of saturated fats or even trans fats, depending on the brand. This type of fat is directly associated with increased levels of bad cholesterol LDL and decreased levels of good cholesterol HDL, heightening the risk of arterial blockages and impairing circulation. Furthermore, instant noodles often include flavor enhancers such as monosodium glutamate, which in excessive amounts can trigger inflammatory responses and disrupt the nervous system. Although these effects are less frequently discussed, they indirectly create a detrimental environment for cardiovascular health, particularly in individuals predisposed to heart diseases. The negligible nutritional value of these products exacerbates the issue. They lack significant quantities of fibers, vitamins, or minerals, rendering them empty calories. As a result, the body expends energy without receiving the essential nutrients needed to safeguard itself from internal damage, thereby increasing the risk of chronic inflammation. Now consider how often instant noodles have been a part of your diet. Despite being a common food, they may be hindering your pursuit of better health. And if you believe instant noodles are detrimental, wait till you learn about the most harmful of all. The most destructive food for the heart will be unveiled in the final chapter. Do not overlook this vital information. Number 8. Industrialized milk chocolates. It is challenging to resist milk chocolate. It provides immediate pleasure, elevates mood, and is often present at numerous special occasions. However, industrial chocolates are filled with refined sugar, hydrogenated fats, and additives that can significantly harm the cardiovascular system, particularly when consumed regularly. The elevated sugar levels in these products lead to spikes in blood sugar, which in turn raise insulin levels and encourage the buildup of visceral fat. This type of fat, found around the organs, releases inflammatory substances that adversely affect arterial health and heighten the risk of heart attacks. Over time, the heart endures this ongoing assault. Another concern is the presence of hydrogenated fats, commonly found in many popular milk chocolates. This type of trans fat is known to obstruct arteries, elevate bad cholesterol, and diminish good cholesterol. Even in minimal amounts, regular intake of this substance has a direct detrimental effect on blood circulation and fosters cardiovascular diseases. Furthermore, milk chocolates frequently contain additives, such as emulsifiers, artificial colors, and flavorings. While these ingredients enhance the product's appeal and shelf life, they also increase the body's inflammatory burden and disrupt metabolism, leading to hormonal imbalances that can negatively impact heart health. It is crucial to note that not all chocolates are created equal. Chocolates with low cocoa content and high sugar levels should be avoided, whereas those containing over 70% cocoa, when consumed in moderation, may even provide health benefits. The key difference lies in the ingredients and the attention you pay to your dietary choices. Therefore, the next time you indulge in chocolate, make informed decisions. Opt for purer, less processed chocolates with lower sugar content. Your heart will appreciate it in the long term. Number 7 on the list is frozen or fast food pizza. Pizza is often associated with enjoyment, comfort, and convenience. However, when discussing frozen or fast food varieties, the situation changes dramatically. These industrial pizzas are crafted with ingredients that collectively pose a significant threat to cardiovascular health. Refined flour, ultra-processed cheeses, processed meats, and trans fats unite to form an extremely inflammatory and hazardous dish for the heart. The foundation of most of these pizzas is composed of white flour, which is a high glycemic index and induces sugar spikes in the bloodstream. These spikes, when occurring frequently, promote insulin resistance and contribute to abdominal fat accumulation, one of the primary indicators of cardiovascular risk. In other words, the dough that appears light can be a silent metabolic trap. The toppings are not any better. Processed cheeses such as cheddar, Calabrian sausage, ham, and other processed meats are high in sodium and saturated fat. These elements elevate blood pressure and increase levels of bad cholesterol, harming artery elasticity and reducing sufficient blood flow to the heart and brain. Over time, this can lead to severe conditions such as heart attacks and strokes. Another concerning aspect is the inclusion of hydrogenated fat in certain frozen doughs and industrial sauces. This type of fat is among the most harmful to the cardiovascular system, as it not only impacts cholesterol. Food for the heart will be disclosed in the final chapter, and it is more prevalent than you might think. Please remain with me until the conclusion. Number 6. Soft drinks. Soft drinks are widely enjoyed by individuals of all ages, often linked to leisure activities, quick meals, or simply as a daily refreshment. However, what appears to be merely a sugary beverage conceals one of the greatest threats to heart health. Both traditional and zero-calorie versions rank among the most detrimental products for metabolism and the cardiovascular system. Traditional varieties contain exceedingly high amounts of refined sugar, averaging around 10 teaspoons per can. This excess sugar leads to significant spikes in blood sugar levels, which elevate triglyceride levels and encourage the accumulation of visceral fat. Fat that gathers around internal organs is directly associated with a heightened risk of hypertension, heart attacks, and coronary diseases. Zero-calorie soft drinks, despite lacking sugar, are not safe alternatives. They include artificial sweeteners such as aspartame and sucralose, which adversely alternatives. They include artificial sweeteners such as aspartame and sucralose, which research indicates that frequent consumption of these substances correlates with a greater risk of metabolic syndrome and cardiovascular diseases. Furthermore, both types are highly acidic and devoid of nutrients. Adversely, research indicates that frequent consumption of these substances correlates with a greater risk of metabolic syndrome and cardiovascular diseases. Furthermore, both types are highly acidic and devoid of nutrients. This acidity can lead to the depletion of essential minerals like calcium and magnesium, which are crucial for maintaining blood pressure and ensuring proper muscle function, including that of the heart. Prolonged and continuous intake of these products undermines health on various levels. Another concerning aspect is the consumption of soft drinks by children and adolescents, which instill harmful dietary habits from an early age. Substituting water with soft drinks contributes to a generation that is more susceptible to obesity, type 2 diabetes, and early-onset heart diseases, a vicious cycle that must be disrupted. Although soft drinks are among the most significant culprits, there exists a food that is even more detrimental to heart health. In the final chapter, you will learn about a common ingredient that may be undermining your health on a daily basis. Please stay with me until the end. This revelation highlights the dangers associated with dairy production residues, thickeners, dyes, and excessive salt content. These elements pose a direct risk to heart health. Such products are frequently found in hamburgers, pre-packaged sandwiches, and even frozen meals. However, their impact on cardiovascular health is alarming. The primary concern is metabolic health. Substances such as phosphates and emulsifiers are associated with chronic inflammation, which can harm blood vessels and accelerate cardiovascular aging. It is as if each slice brings your heart closer to harm. It is crucial to differentiate these products from natural cheeses, such as miner's cheese or aged Parmesan, which should be included in a balanced diet when consumed in moderation. The issue lies with the industrially processed versions that deviate significantly from authentic cheese. Therefore, it is advised to opt for simpler, less processed alternatives. Reading ingredient labels is essential. The more unfamiliar ingredients listed, the more you should avoid the product. Your heart deserves genuine food, not a concoction of chemicals. Furthermore, industrial cakes, pies, and sweets are also problematic. They are appealing, colorful, and often associated with emotional comfort. Ready-made cakes, pies, and sweets have become a staple in many people's lives, whether as afternoon snacks or during celebrations. However, behind their sugary flavor lurk harmful ingredients that can lead to inflammation and accelerate the aging of arteries. When these effects are persistent, they can severely damage the heart. These products are a significant concern. These products typically combine refined sugar, white flour, and hydrogenated vegetable fat. Sugar leads to constant spikes in glucose and insulin, promoting belly fat and elevating triglycerides. White flour, which is low in fiber, quickly converts to sugar in the bloodstream, increasing metabolic stress. Hydrogenated fat, commonly found in toppings, doughs, and fillings, is among the worst for your heart. It clogs arteries more effectively than saturated fat, reducing blood flow and forcing the heart to work harder, increasing the risk of atherosclerosis and heart failure. Additionally, these products contain preservatives, dyes, and stabilizers that impair digestion, damage the liver, and disrupt hormonal balance. The inflammation caused directly affects blood vessels, increasing arterial stiffness and diminishing the flexibility necessary for proper cardiovascular function. Frequent consumption poses another issue. These foods are inexpensive, convenient, and palatable, leading them to become habits rather than exceptions. Even small daily portions can result in dangerous damage accumulation that often manifests years later when it is too late. If you believe that these industrial sweets are the greatest threat, prepare yourself. The most harmful food for the heart is yet to be revealed, and it may be part of your daily routine without your awareness. Do not overlook this crucial information for your health. Number 3, processed meats. Processed meats rank among the most hazardous items for heart health. Foods such as sausage, bacon, ham, and salami are common in quick snacks, breakfasts, and even main meals. However, behind the convenience and bold flavor lies a toxic combination of sodium nitrites and preservatives that directly promote cardiovascular disease. The sodium in these meats is heavily utilized to preserve fried foods cooked in reused oil. Crispy, golden, hot fries appear irresistible and are commonly found in nearly every fast food establishment, as well as in many home-cooked meals. However, when fried in reused oil, as is frequently the case, they transform into a catalyst for cardiovascular inflammation. Reheated oil undergoes oxidation, resulting in the formation of toxic compounds that directly harm blood vessels. These oxidized fats incite inflammation within artery walls, complicating blood flow and promoting the accumulation of fat plaques. The heart, striving to maintain blood circulation, operates under continuous stress, significantly heightening the risk of heart attacks, heart failure, and elevated blood pressure. This phenomenon can even affect young individuals who frequently consume fried foods. Another significant issue is that these fries are often paired with other equally harmful items, such as sodas, processed burgers, and artificial sauces. This combination amplifies negative effects, increasing the inflammatory burden and complicating cardiovascular recovery post-meal. Additionally, reused oil may contain acrylamide, a compound associated with chronic inflammation and metabolic dysfunctions. This extended inflammation serves as a significant trigger for heart disease, particularly when paired with control to transform your meals into a supporter of longevity and well-being. Furthermore, if you wish to continue receiving the most beneficial videos for your health, please subscribe to the channel, as it exists solely for one purpose: